So you've been manifesting your specific person. You've been putting the work in, you've been consistent, and yet everyone but them seems to be showing up. But there actually is an explanation, a couple of different things that can be going on here that I'm going to be explaining today. And believe it or not, there actually is some good stuff behind why this is happening. So if you can take that in the right way, you will succeed in the end. But without further ado, because I know you're excited to find this out and get it resolved once and for all, let's dive right in. So let's start with the good side of things, why this is actually a good thing. Your self-concept. Your reality is dictated by your thoughts, your feelings, your awareness, your assumptions. If your specific person, over here we've got a heartbreak, sad face, and that's meant to be ice melting, giving you a cold shoulder, doesn't seem to be showing up for you in the way that you want, but you're getting other people who are, that's showing that your baseline stories are up to scratch. That's showing an inner abundance to some degree. Let's say, for example, I am committed to SP, is your affirmation. In order for your subconscious mind to create a reality for you where other people are showing up for you, it must be hearing this I am committed side and any kind of positive self-concept you have. I'm good enough to have a relationship. I don't chase, I attract, all that kind of good stuff. What it's missing out is this 2SP. Because otherwise, you would get no one. If your generalized stories or if your affirmations or anything like that wasn't up to scratch, you would not only not get your specific person, you'd get bloody no one. You wouldn't get that random guy that you met at a bar or that co-worker or anybody like that showing any form of interest. Because in order for you to get things, there must be internalized stories, whether general or specific, that state that that thing is your experience. This randomer could come as a result of your I am committed committed side of the affirmation being picked up. It could come up as a side of your good enough self-concept. It could come up as a result of men I don't want or women I don't want are interested in me. Doesn't particularly matter where exactly it's come from, but if you're having an experience of other people but your specific person showing up, it shows that you at least have a generally elevated state of consciousness around relationships, your self-concept, and so on. Of course, there's likely work that could still be done. Everyone could improve at everything. There's no one that's perfect at any particular thing. But your general stories around relationships, around your self-concept and things like that are up to scratch enough for your subconscious mind to bring you in this randomer. I say randomer just to say that it's not your SP. It could be someone genuinely random or someone you know that's interested in you or whatever. You get what I mean. So what this leads us to focus on more so, if you're having people but SP showing up, is that it's more related toward this 2SP that is an issue. There may be some self-concept things under the hood that still need to be worked on once the relationship comes into play. For example, if you got with this randomer, you decided to give them a go, and you've still got stories of once I fall in love, that's when they dip. You may have that still happen in this experience with this randomer because of those stories, which obviously you'd have to work through at that time. But generally speaking, if you've got other people showing up trying to give you the love, the house, the marriage, the world, you're clearly not in a state where love, marriage, and the world is not acceptable for you. You're just currently in the state where love, marriage, and the world is not acceptable for you from your person specifically. The analogy that I like to give to this is you could be the king or queen of England, but if you're still saying that stable boy won't bow to me, that stable boy isn't bowing to you. Doesn't matter whether you're the king of England, queen of the universe, whatever, if you still hold the statement of, but they won't bow, then you are clearly dealing with someone that won't bow and you're continuously feeding that to your subconscious mind. So I'm not saying that this absolves you of any self-concept work or anything like that. I'm just saying that if someone else is showing up in place, or if you're seeming to get interest from other areas, generally speaking, that would say that the issues that you have lie more specifically with your approach to your specific person than it does with you and your views on relationships and so on. Of course, and this will kind of go into point 3 when I get there, but take a personal inventory. I give you these general ideas to give you a springboard to jump from, but you still need to do the work yourself and actually go, yes, but I can still see where I don't feel good enough generally and then work on it, for example. So this is a general thing. Please do your own personal inventory to see where you're at specifically, or we can work together to help you get there. But I think that this is a good thing because I think that this shows you that you are doing the work correctly in a general perspective. We just need to hone in on why you're still looking at your specific person as the obstacle that won't commit. And that leads us quite nicely into point 2, which is over-importance, as well as stories about them. I should put A, B, them. So this is a 2-part issue. You could be one or the other, or you could be a bit of both. Again, general, take it and kind of have a think. We'll start with the stories about them. This could just simply be that you are still allowing the obstacles that you see regarding your specific person specifically to get into the way. Let's say that you have the stories of once they break up, they never get back with exes, or they are a bit of a player, or they're a bit promiscuous and they're not ready to settle down, things like that. Doesn't matter how much you say you're committed, if you're still saying, but they won't because of promiscuity, being a player, won't get back with exes, family won't support and they will follow what their family says, that's exactly why you can get the I am committed being picked up and not the specific person. So we need to look into that. And what I urge you to do, actually no, I'll save it for point 3 to be clear with my resolution explanation. But that could just be simply the case. You're doing so good at saying, I am committed to SP, I am committed to SP, I am committed to SP, I'm deserving of commitment and all that kind of stuff, that your subconscious mind is hearing, I'm committed, I'm committed, I'm committed. But because you keep saying, but SP won't do XYZ because of XYZ, your subconscious mind goes, we're committed, but not to SP. In order for that to be true, I'm going to bring other people that are willing to provide commitment that are not the specific person. So it could just be a simple case that you're doing everything right. You are just still holding on to and being a victim to the stories you hold about your specific person that stop you getting what you want. So obviously wait out until point 3 where I actually give you what I recommend for you to do there to deal with that. But that then leads me into the over-importance element. And if I'm honest, this is what I see a lot. I see people doing incredible routines, better than mine. If I'm objective, more work than I do, just from a proactive standpoint. But the unfortunate thing that I see a lot is far too much pedestallation, care, importance, outcome dependency. There's a big difference between a want and a need. And this is where people trip up. Many people say, but I deeply want SP, which is fine. Deeply wanting something is not synonymous with not having, as I'll explain in a second. Not synonymous with not having, which I'll explain in a second. But what happens is that wanting turns into a need, or they're acting from the same perspective of a need. So what's actually happening is they're claiming a deep want, but their actions show a deep need, or their state, the way they're going about things shows a deep need. Now, why is need a problem and wanting isn't? Wanting is not mutually exclusive to not having, or to having. Sorry, it's not mutually exclusive to having, i.e., you can have something and still want more of it. You could still you can have money and want more money. You can have a healthy relationship and want more time with your partner. You can have 3 partners that you're dating at the same time and want to add a 4th in. That does not take away from the fact that you already have that thing initially. Whereas needing something states that you do not have the sufficient amount of something. I.e., if I need money to pay that bill, I'm showing that I don't have enough for that bill. If I need love from my person, I'm stating I don't have love from my person to a sufficient amount. Wanting doesn't say that you don't have the initial, it's just saying you want more. If I want more money, that doesn't say that I can't afford that bill. It just means that I can afford that bill with extra spare. If I want more love from my person, that doesn't say that they don't love me now. It just means that I want more of it, and so on. So wanting is not a problem, and wanting is actually the driving fuel to get people to do stuff. You want to be able to live, so you go to work. You want those new Pokemon cards that have just been released, so you earn the money to do it. You want to have a fun night, so you get ready to go out and go get plastered at the club and things like that. But needing is stating that you don't have the sufficient amount. If I need to go out and get plastered, God knows why you would need that, but just for the example purposes, that clearly shows that there's a lack of fulfillment in your present life, so much so that the need to get plastered is there. There's lack of fulfillment. So this is part of what I see. I see a lot of people accidentally go from a deep want to a need, and that turns it into lack. Need equals lack, lack equals not having, which cycles that need for it, which cycles the lack of not having, which creates not having, and so on. It's a perpetual cycle. So what happens with this overimportance thing is people place too much value on the other individual as some form of saving grace for them. Whether that's to provide the love, whether that's to provide the fulfillment, and so on, they place too much value on this person, so much so that it becomes a need for them, which breeds the lack of having them, which obviously creates you not having them. Now, I'm not telling you by any stretch of the imagination to stop wanting them. I'm telling you to stop needing them, which will obviously come up in point 3. But when you come from need, you're basically saying, I don't have, which is why they continue to delay. When you come from want, it doesn't do that. It doesn't stop you from getting what you want. It fuels the motions to make it happen. If I didn't want Katie, for example, I wouldn't continue to put in the work to get her when I was manifesting her. I would just drop her. The same reason that most of you watching this video don't really want this random person, which is why you haven't dropped the initial specific person for them. So wanting is necessary. Otherwise, you wouldn't do anything to make something happen. Needing is unhelpful and unhealthy because it states a dependency. And if you're outcome dependent, you're saying that that outcome isn't a present experience, thus keeping it away. For every day that you're saying this isn't my present experience is another day that you are saying it's not my present experience, which is another day where it stays not your present experience, which is why you don't get it. So with that outcome dependency element or that needing element, by being in a state of need, you're just telling your subconscious mind, I don't have. And this can be so easily done by simply just having too much importance and value in the other individual. Now, I'm not saying that to a degree of drop them and go for someone else, but if we can at least limit or lessen the value that you hold in them, the saving grace that you think they are, so it can go back into a normal, healthy, wanting perspective, that I am committed to SP will finally have the capability to go from I am committed, but there's too much importance on SP to get them, staying in a state of need, to a wanting, which fuels the work to then finally actually get to be I am committed to SP, allowing them to come. So the first thing, solution, point 3. We'll start with where we started before, which is the stories about them. Get your notepad and pen. That's meant to be a notepad. and write out the stories that you are still holding on to that stop you. So family in the way, for example, player, for example, work-life balance isn't good enough, so they won't commit. For example, I'm not their type. For example, get all the stories, everything that you still hold on to as your obstacles. And on the other side, write what you wish to be true. So if it's the family don't support and they're super invested into their family's thoughts, SP's families are fully supportive of our relationship. If it's that they're a player, SP is ready and willing to fully commit to me. And he is, and she is. If it's work, SP takes time out of his work to hold this relationship with me, or to have this relationship with me, I suppose is a better word. If it's not their type, I'm more than good enough as I am to be in this loving relationship with SP. And I want to state, I say in this loving relationship with SP, because that state that it exists now. To be in a loving relationship with SP is kind of like a general, like, yeah, I'm good enough for it, but it's not existent. In this relationship claims that it is. In this relationship that I'm in, I'm good enough for it. So get all the stories on one page, and on the next page, write out the positive oppositions. Then as you go through your day, when you notice negative thoughts coming up that are related to those stories, respond in your mind. So when a thought of like his family doesn't support, catch it, notice it. Okay, I'm thinking again about that story, but that story is a limitation that's keeping me at bay. What do I want it in its place? And then you affirm the new one, or visualize like his family supporting you or her family supporting you, or whatever it is that you would like to do. Same thing with the player, rinse and repeat, and so on and so forth. Every time those stories come to mind, catch it, notice it, understand that your subconscious mind needs to hear the new story in order to create the new outcome. Boom, feed it that new story. And with consistency and commitment in that, you will get the new story. And it can turn that I am committed from a general perspective to finally allow for the specific person. The other element for the overimportance, and I want you to actually do this exercise and really think about it. I know it might scare some of you, but it's going to help you. This isn't said to get you to turn off from a specific person. This is said to help you. Why do you want them? Oh, just imagine that says you. Why do you want them? Why them? Why them and no one else? And subsequently, why do you think nobody else could give you what they give you? Now, I'm not saying this, like I said, to try and get you to turn off from SP and go for someone else and make my life easier as a coach. No stretch of the imagination am I trying to do that. But you need to understand that in a lot of cases, when we are so invested in one particular thing and aren't open to other options, there's a reason for it. And that reason can be perfectly fair and healthy and justified. This isn't some sort of judgmental state of like, why aren't you going for other people? I went for just Katie, so I'm speaking from experience here. But there must be a reason as to why it is them and no one else. See what you can find within that explanation. For example, if they were the only time that you felt secure, or genuinely seen and loved, or genuinely good enough, just examples, there could be any number of reasons, but let's just say those ones, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And there's no reason why you can't still pursue them. But what we need to be doing is providing this to yourself. Provide it to you. Because what's happening here is when it delves from a bit of a wanting state onto a needing state, you are stating, I need this person because they make me feel secure. Stating that security isn't something that is already yours. I need this person because it was the only time I felt genuinely loved. Stating love isn't currently yours. I need this person because it was the only time I felt genuinely good enough. Nobody else has ever been able to make me feel that way since. I don't think anybody else could make me feel that way. This was the only time I experienced it. Perfectly fair experience and a perfectly fair reason as to why you want this person. You should absolutely do what you can because you deserve the best. And if that's the time you felt genuinely secure, that sounds like the best to me. But what we need to do so that we can create the relationship so you can experience it is understand that your subconscious mind doesn't care on what you should get. It only cares on what you're feeding it you are getting. If you work on making yourself feel more secure, you're stating that you are secure, provides you more things to feel secure. If your person made you feel secure, that is going to be part of that. If you genuinely start feeling good enough and your person made you feel good enough, you're now aligned to the version of you who has them. Because if you're good enough with them and you don't feel good enough without them, then you're not the same person. That's why you can't get them. So what we need to do, on top of the other stuff that I mentioned, obviously, like changing the stories about them if they're in the way, is get there and go, well, why do I actually want them? What is it genuinely about them? It doesn't really matter how superficial it is. Obviously, within reason, I'll be honest, if you're obsessed with someone because they've got the biggest boobs you've ever seen, maybe you should get a few greater priorities in a relationship than that. But generally speaking, I think the vast majority of people deeply want someone for a genuine reason. Yeah, even if the relationship itself wasn't healthy for other reasons, the reason why this person still wants them is probably a genuine reason. I can't assume that people would genuinely want someone for the bad things that happened in that relationship. That would be a bit strange. But you get where I'm coming from. Even in a bad relationship, there was probably something good that was there that the person is clinging to. So get an understanding as to why them and why no one else. And that is fine. If you want to commit to just the one person and not give anybody else a chance, that's fine. I don't care what you do. This is your journey. I want you to succeed at what you're doing. So look into why them and see if you can provide it for yourself. If security is what you're lacking now, work on providing yourself more security so you need them less, coming from a state of wanting them instead of needing them, allowing the subconscious mind to give you what you want. Because you can want more of what you already have, but you can't really need more of something that you don't have. Hang on. No, you can't need something you do have because then you would already have it. So you need something you don't have, which is why we don't get when we're in a state of need. So look at why you want them and only them. Look at what about you is unfulfilled without them and see if you can provide it for yourself as best as possible. Even if you have to use other people to do it. You can love yourself, obviously, and provide yourself the feelings of being chosen and such. But you could also just spend more time with friends and feel a genuine sense of community, love, friendship. Yeah, it's not intimacy. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of, but that close, connection-y kind of thing. And that might just help you need it from your SP less, which actually then allows them to come in. When I was manifesting people in the past, when I was with my friends was usually a good time when things come in. Texts or matches on Tinder or I just want to say how much I appreciate you messages and things like that. The text that I'd been waiting a day for usually came in when I was occupied with my friends because I was feeling that sense of, closeness, friendship, community. I was feeling chosen, heard, seen, which helped me experience more of those things. Lo and behold, people came in. So if you can do this, find out why you want them and only them and work on it and provide it for yourself, external to them, it actually makes it easier for them to come in. And on top of that, it actually makes it easier for them to stay. Because if you don't feel secure without them, you're going to put a lot of pressure on them and your own mind to make you feel secure. If somebody else has to live two lives, theirs and yours, to make you feel secure, it's a lot of pressure. If your subconscious mind is going, oh, I don't feel secure when he's not around, and he's gone for a day, you're just going to be feeding negative stories. You're just going to have to get more things that make you feel insecure, which is your security leaving you. Which is why many of us, myself included, when Katie left me and when my previous partner before that left me, are in the situation we're in. So providing this for yourself is a cheat code to get them, not a cheat code to move on from them. And providing these things for yourself is a cheat code to keep them for good. The more secure, loved, and good enough you are without them, the better you can be with them. So take note of this. Take note of any stories that you may be holding about them that are keeping you at bay. Take note of any stories and any lack of fulfillment that you have that you're looking at them to fix. Fix it yourself without them and that'll allow them to come in easier because you'll stem away from needing onto wanting, and it'll allow you to have a happier and healthier relationship when they do come, allowing it to last, just like me and Katie. Because these things here are exactly what I started to do once Katie and I got back together. Started to look into why on earth I was such a little bitch in the first place and work on it. And now, obviously, I don't want Katie to leave. I want to stay with her. But now I can safely say that if Katie did leave for whatever reason, other than the typical sadnesses of losing a relationship that's been going on for many years, I would be whole within myself still. Because I don't need Katie to make me feel these ways. She's just a bonus to them. Your person should be a bonus to your life, not the completion of it. Or not the savior of it, I suppose I could say. But thank you very much for being here with me today. I really hope you have enjoyed. If you have, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you want to skip this general content and actually have tailored advice to your situation that doesn't follow some algorithm script, I do have emails, video calls, and phone calls available. If you would like to join an academy of exceptional people, is the only way that I can describe them, all kicking ass, all learning, all doing what needs to be done to create the lives that they want. The academy is available on a lifetime opportunity or a monthly membership opportunity, which is cancel at any time. And on my academy, you can gain access to the private Telegram group, all of my courses, all of my exclusive videos, every product, 25% on discounts on all of my services, and much more. Like I said, if you join monthly, it's cancelled at any time. So you can join, see what it's like, see what it's about. You'll love it once you're in, I'm sure. But quit if you really, really need to. So you owe it to yourself to have a look. But thank you very much for being here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.